So with the launch of Season 1 of Midnight, there is now a ton of new content to go do, a ton of new gear to go obtain, and a ton of new systems to go progress through. And in this video, I want to go over what is seeming to be one of the strongest delve farms we have seen since it was originally implemented last expansion. And if you have any plans to do delves at all on any characters in Season 1, I would very much recommend you do this because this farm is just so incredibly strong for so many different things. Doing this farm, you can go through and unlock all the way up to tier 11 delves very quickly. You can farm these tier 11 delves pretty quickly and pretty easily, which will give you a ton of Valera experience to level her up to make all delving you do significantly easier, because every level she gets, she just gets more and more damage or healing. You'll get a ton of Delver's Journey. I'm already close to rank 4 on Delver's Journey, even though I haven't gone and done bountiful delves on all of my max level alts yet. You will be able to actually make quite a lot of gold this early in the season, specifically with things like petrified roots, which you can get up to 18 a run, even though that's pretty rare, but it isn't very rare to get like 10 per run. You can get a lot of veteran track warbound gear, which is epic gear, so you can either give that veteran track gear to your alt or disenchant it for dawn crystals, which are currently going for like 6,000 to 7,000 gold a piece right now. And then you will be getting everything else you would normally get at the end of delve runs, like cosmetics, other random pieces of gear. You'll be getting tons of undercoins, which is the delve currency. I think I have close to 10,000 now already, which is pretty good. There's actually, I think, a mount for 10,000 right now, so there's a ton of stuff you can get with that, especially as you progress more into the Delver's Journey. So this farm just allows you to progress your delves, earn gold, earn good gear for this early in the season for your main or for all of your ults, and all of that can be done pretty easily and quickly on most classes and specs. And the footage you'll be seeing in this video is of a specific story variant of a specific delve, and that's what makes this farm truly incredibly strong. But the other story variants within this specific delve are also very good. I think just not as good as this variant. So the delve we're going to be looking at is Collegiate Calamity. It's the delve in Silvermoon, so it's very easy to find. The story variant is Invasive Glow. Now, like I mentioned, the other two variants are also very good. This delve is just incredibly strong at a baseline because it's such a small delve. You're in a very small area, a very condensed area, and within like 10 or 15 seconds of the delve, you're pretty much at the area that the boss will usually end up spawning. So while you're running around the delve and going to different areas, it's all in a very condensed area, and moving through delves is usually one of the biggest losses of time for a lot of the bigger delves. So this one being incredibly strong, incredibly compact is just very good. But on top of this, one of the biggest time savers is that every story variant of this delve, once you get to the boss, will have NPCs that help you fight the boss. I think there's 5 of them, and these NPCs do a lot of their own damage, but they keep applying this debuff to the boss that makes them, I think, take damage over time, but also massively increases all damage they take, and they can stack it up to like 80% or even above 80%. So the bosses in this delve die incredibly quickly, and if you're doing like a tier 11 delve, bosses usually take a long time, especially if you're doing this below like the recommended item levels. The bosses usually take a lot more time than you would expect, and in here it takes maybe 30 seconds on like tier 11, so it is incredibly fast. Also, when you're doing the bosses will have different mechanics that try to target those NPCs. If those NPCs get down, they'll have a circle around them, just stand at it and it heals them back up. You are really getting carried by these NPCs for the boss fights, which again just massively speeds up your progression in all of the variants of this delve. Now, the reason the Invasive Glow story variant of this delve is so incredibly strong is because at the start of the delve, you talk to an NPC, and then you'll pick up this bomb that's next to them, and you'll have this extra action button ability at all times within the entirety of the delve, and this is a bomb that has a very low cooldown that you throw on enemies. Now, at the start of the delve, you'll use it to insta-kill all of these really little NPCs that don't do much, but you can use this bomb on every enemy within the delve, and when you use it on them, it'll put a dot that does a ridiculous amount of damage over time that lasts about as long as the cooldown of the bomb. So you can pretty much infinitely keep this dot up on enemies. To use it most efficiently, you will essentially be using the bomb in between every one of your other abilities. It is on the GCD, so you can't like macro it into all of your other abilities, but you just use it in between every other ability, and the damage of this bomb is pretty good in every delve tier. In the lowest delve tiers, it's still probably better just to use your your abilities just because you'll be so much stronger. But once you get to higher delve tiers, the damage of this bomb keeps scaling all the way up to tier 11. It keeps doing more and more damage for that delve. So when you're in like tier 11 delves, the damage of this thing is significantly higher than you could be doing right now. In fact, when I'm running these tier 11 delves, which I can run in like 7 minutes, maybe a little under 7 minutes if I get lucky with routing, this thing will be doing like 90% of my damage, and I'm decently geared for day 1 of the season. And that's realistically the main reason why this story variant is so good. You have a bomb that just does a majority of your damage that you're spamming on enemies at all times. And if you're a tank, there's even bonus to this because you could just group up a lot of enemies and the bomb AoEs to hit pretty much all of them. So you'll be AoEing this dot damage from this bomb to just be able to clear it much more quickly. But if you're not a tank, you may just have to do it in a different way. I will say right now, it seems like Valeera as a tank is quite strong, kind of like how Bran was when he could first be a tank. And if you're running this as a healer, you can be healing Valeera to allow her to just do more and more damage. And you can also just be throwing your bomb in between. So that could also be a really good strategy. And DPS, you'll just have to figure out the pulls you want to do so you don't die. Because also the health of the enemies in here aren't like increased or anything to compensate for this extra damage for the bomb. They're the same health as other enemies in other delves on the same tier. So this is just a significantly faster delve than you could find pretty much anywhere else. And this story variant is also pretty simple. You're just defeating a bunch of enemies, and you're also having to use your bomb on these flowers that there are like, I think 7 or 8 throughout the entirety of the map of this delve. So really what you want to do is just find a route to be able to get the flowers easily and only pull as many enemies as you need. You don't want to be pulling a bunch of additional enemies, especially the big elite thick trees in here that just have a lot of health. But on top of that, as you start to get to the higher tier of delves, you'll unlock the Nemesis system, which is where certain groups of enemies in the delve get kind of taken over by a pack of elite void entities, or I guess technically void. Most of them are actually just these big creatures you go and defeat. If you played War Within Delves, you'll know what these are. They have the same system in there, and there'll be more and more of these Nemesis packs as you get higher into the tiers. At tier 11, there's 4 of these packs. For every pack you defeat, there will be a chest at the end of the delve that you upgrade more and more. So if you're on tier 11, it'll become an epic chest if you defeat all 4 of the Nemesis packs. The Nemesis packs will usually be in routes you're already taking to complete the delve, and they do give percent to enemies killed for the delve completion. So you usually want to go and try to get all of the ones in that tier of the delve, because also that chest at the end can give you loot, it can give you gear, it can give you the petrified roots, which are the things I mentioned that you could sell for a lot of gold that are currently going for 1,400 gold a piece right now. They'll probably drop down, but I've been able to get like 10 plus of these. I think I've sold over 100 of these petrified roots in this first night of season 1. So it just gives you an idea of how many of these petrified roots you'll be getting. I've also sold like a dozen plus of the dawn crystals as well, which is what you get from enchanting epic gear. So you can make a lot of gold while also progressing everything in your delves through this one farm. And a final really strong tip is that if you're playing a tank or a DPS, you're probably going to want to be running Valeera as a healer. And if you run her as a healer, she will keep a weapon enchant on you, essentially just a buff she gives you for the entirety of the delve run that gives you 10% leech, I think like 10% avoidance and movement speed maybe, but the most important thing is the 10% leech, which is already generally pretty strong, but the damage from the bombs works with leech. So just throwing a bomb on a group of enemies full heal you over time, and there are those really small little planes that the bomb one-shots in between all of the normal enemies, and if you pull one of those smaller planes and use a bomb on them, it insta-kills them, but it does a lot of damage to insta-kill them, like 500,000 or like up to 1 million. That also counts for leech as well. So you'll pull a few of these small plants with like big elites and you throw a bomb on them and it instantly full heals you just based off this 10% leech. So running this on like tier 11 with Valeera as a healer is probably the meta to do this, especially with this bomb that just does so much absurd amounts of damage. The leech will just heal you for ridiculous amounts throughout the entirety of the delve. So I would definitely recommend going and running this delve. And again, if this story variant isn't on invasive glow for that day, it will cycle every single day, and both of the other delve story variants of this specific delve are both really strong. They're not as strong as this version, but the other variants do also give other things. Like I went over Academy Under Siege before, where there's all of these items you could pick up that give you usable abilities that will give you like shielding, will do damage, will do a bunch of other things. So the other story variants not only are just really good because of the delve itself, how small it is, and having the NPCs to help you at the end. But all of the variants in this delve do give you some items or some things you can do, increase the speed of the run, give you more power, give you items to use, things like that. And all of that just makes this delve on any story variant, especially Evasive Glow, I think the strongest delve you can do in Season 1 of Midnight. It is ridiculously strong. I would recommend going and farming this very early. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.